Tell me, who is Peter Gillet?
Peter Gillet is a bully, a narcissist. He's a wretched, manipulating, prolific, lying animal. And sadly, he's also my biological father. Because he's destroyed so many lives, and I put an end to that. He would used to suck my tongue until it hurt, and he'd come round my front, he'd stand behind me, and he'd undo my trousers.
Classic grooming, isn't it?
Classic textbook grooming, yeah. Our genitals are exposed in plain sight, both of us naked, while somebody else is taking a picture. And when he saw me scared, he'd then switch on me. What did you fucking say? You said something. I can't move, I'm stiff with fear. I just want to die. I want the world to swallow me up, and this has to end.
61% of regular Heretics viewers haven't subscribed yet. Can I ask you a favour? If you love these fearless conversations, hit subscribe now because it's free, takes 2 seconds, and powers our mission. Liam Tuffs, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's an honour being here.
Oh, it was an honour being on your show just the other day, which I encourage people to watch on The Dozen. A wonderful, wonderful show, and I loved going on that. And now I've got you here. Now, you are a very good friend of Tommy Robinson's. You also have a dark family past that we're going to talk about today, which is just, people will see. But
you was going to say mental, weren't you?
I was going to say it was absolutely mental. I'm trying to think. I don't want to say anything that offends you because it is such a sensitive topic. So that's true. But let's start off by you're a close mate of Tommy Robinson's. How did that come to be?
Well, it was shortly after he dismantled the EDL and put it to bed. So I never knew him in the EDL days. So we become friends when I had a big social media platform. I was airing my concerns. I was posting comical videos, but with an underlying meaning to them. And I was very much concerned about mass migration, industrial scale rape of our children, face coverings. It's a security breach. I've got a security background. So the stuff that everyone's now talking about freely and openly, and it's acceptable. But sort of 12 years ago, heaven forbid you spoke about that, which I did openly, which got me cancelled numerous times. But he saw one of my videos, then he shared it, then we started talking on the internet, and I didn't know who Tommy Robinson was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not even particularly political. And I wasn't back then. There's just a few things that I've got a hard line and I won't budge on it. And the preservation of children's innocence is one of them. In fact, anybody that's vulnerable, I feel like I'm obligated to put my arm around them and say, right, I'm going to do this with you. So anyway, Tommy Robinson, and then I look at the comments and see all the usual slurs that he's been tagged and branded with, racist, bigot, far right, all that nonsense. And it was the racist one that I thought, okay, well, I better do some due diligence on that because I'm from Crawley. It's a multicultural town. It's a London overspill. So I've got friends of all different colours and creeds. So it's like, okay, well, if he is a bona fide racist, I obviously can't be friends with a racist because that means I'll be betraying my own that I've grown up with, been to school with, shared secrets with, worked the door with, we've saved each other's lives. So I went down a rabbit hole. Is Tommy Robinson racist? What's he ever said that's racist? What's he ever done that's racist? Is there anything out there that could insinuate he's racist? I found exactly zero. So let's meet up, let's have a drink. We went to a boxing show in Essex and it was his friend's boxing. So I was the guest. Me and a friend of mine went. He filled out the whole stadium like he always does. And I would say 40% of his friends were black. So it's like, okay, well, that's the racist theory blown out the water. And then from then on in, I stuck with him as a friend because I saw the good in him and I saw the lies I was told. And if there's one thing I don't like being, that's lied to. And I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that we're sick of being lied to in the media, by the politicians. In fact, just by anybody. It's insulting.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. It's funny. I had a very similar experience because I was going out to interview him and I thought, I'm a journalist. I don't want to align myself with a racist either, just like you wouldn't want to be friends with one. And I had a real look. There is a video where he calls a guy that the P word, you can't say on YouTube, an Asian person, P-A-K-I. There was that. Have you seen that?
No.
Sort of drunk. I think he's drunk and he sort of says that. But I think that's just, Is that just how they sort of talk to each other?
Well, it may well be because a few videos from his group chat from his school friends have leaked. Now, I know who's in those group chats with his school friends. There are Pakistanis in there. There are Indians in there. There are Nigerians. There are Ghanaians in there. And they all, when you come from Luton, you all have banter with each other. And you can all take the piss out of each other. And there was a time where we weren't so sensitive and we could have a little joke about everything, including race. But I think for somebody that documents their entire life online, if there's one thing that you found or somebody else has found, I think I can forgive him for that. And I think if most people are honest, they've said exactly the same at a certain time in their life. Remember what the corner shops used to be called when we were kids?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
We didn't mean anything by it. It was just, that was what they were called.
Yeah, yeah. What would you say did Tommy open your eyes to? Because you were already doing a lot of the stuff about, I suppose, grooming gangs and things like that, were you? So what did Tommy open your eyes to?
Well, we've kind of got a similar background from a similar place. Crawley was voted the third roughest town in the UK years ago. Luton is in a league of its own. It's a hideous, repugnant place full of the dregs of society, the most dangerous people. There's great people there also. There's high-flying geniuses. So I'm not trampling on Luton, but the stats don't lie. You've seen 24 hours in police custody. Its eyes are on Luton. So as far as sort of cultural background and rough and ready and how you'd grow up from a council estate, my eyes were already wide open. But what my eyes were open to through becoming close friends with Tommy is the mainstream media. The loathsome government weapon leg that's used to absolutely tarnish, destroy, obliterate anybody that they see fit to do so. So the media, they work with the government, for the government, to destroy whoever the government feel fit to destroy, with lies, slander, immoral tactics. And it's very sad to see, because we tend to believe what we read. That's why I don't read. But we do. It goes in and your brain can't really work out, well, are these words true or are they not? So you're sort of programming yourself by reading it. And to think that all these years have gone by and we've been polluting our brain with lies that have just been planted in there systematically. Boom, lie, boom, lie. Okay, the government don't like that person. Why? Well, because they're speaking against us. They've got us sus. They're exposing our secrets. Right, everybody come together, target that person. Make up a lie if needs be. I don't care what you got to do. That person's got to go down. Now, I've seen what they've done to Tommy. I've seen covert recordings of John Sweeney from the BBC. Animal. He's grooming someone. That's what he's doing. He's grooming somebody to make up a story and sexualise it to do with Tommy. So they wanted to make a Jimmy Savile out of Tommy. And it's so lucky that there was a covert recording of John Sweeney doing exactly that. And then if you remember the famous interview, it was going to go out on Panorama. And Tommy's counter-documentary was called Panodrama. But that's the BBC propaganda machine. That's the documentary that everybody thinks, well, that's 100% accurate because we've trusted it for years. They wanted to make a wrong one out of Tommy. Luckily, he had the covert recording. He then arranged the meeting with John Sweeney. John Sweeney thought he was going to have his got you moment, but the roles were flipped. Tommy then played on the screen what he had on John Sweeney, and the rest is history. And if you've not seen it, I strongly recommend seeing it. And also, I'm friends with enough people and I've interviewed enough people in the limelight, celebrity types, where the media have lied to them to the point they feel suicidal. And this is why I don't like the mainstream media. I think it's you've got to be a sociopath to report and lie about someone to the extent you don't care if they take their own life or not. I mean, Caroline Flack, it's another story, but they got to be careful what they're printing because they've got to sleep at night and there's people out there that they're making extremely miserable to the point of suicide. Yeah.
Do you think the kinds of lies, I was thinking, I mean, one thing that really irked me recently was that Emily Maitlis, when she called Rupert Lowe racist, did you see that? Like, why are you focusing on the grooming gangs? You're a racist.
I did see that and I was appalled. I would say I was astounded, but I wasn't, because it's kind of expected now from the left. And what she done there was she disregarded and disrespect every single, I know that we can't say that word on your channel, every grooming gang victim in the country. And there's thousands, and it's been going on for 40, 50 years, maybe plus. White, British, young girls, children getting systematically raped. Got to say it at least once, because that's what it is. I mean, that's a major thing. That has a knock-on effect for the rest of your life. I mean, we're talking therapy, drug addiction. It leads to all kinds of out-of-control spirals. You'll never be able to have a relationship again. You'll have trust issues, abandonment issues. So she's clearly naive to the real world, as are the elites, these celebrities that live in their gated communities. So when she accused or insinuated that Rupert Lowe was a racist for wanting to go full steam ahead with a national rape inquiry, I just thought, you animal. You have literally spat in the face of every victim in the country. Shame on you.
So smug as well, the way she did it. It was so smug. And I think Constantine on here recently said it was like she was talking to a dog turd. This genuinely changed how I travel. Before, every time I went abroad, like when I visit Argentina to see my in-laws, I'd waste hours trying to buy a SIM card. It was always a hassle, and I'd often run out of data at the worst moments. It actually ruined some trips. Now I use my sponsor Saily, an eSIM app that makes getting mobile data abroad instant and seamless. No physical SIM card, no lines, no stress. It's just in there and you just do the things. It made things so easy. Just download the app, choose your plan, and you're good to go. And it's affordable, significantly reducing and even eliminating roaming fees with eSIM plans in over 190 countries. Besides, if for any reason your phone is not eSIM compatible, you get your money back. And right now, you can get 15% off your Saily data plan with my code Heretics. So don't wait until you're abroad with no signal. Download the Saily app now and use the code Heretics for 15% off. I think there was a point there you hit on something, which was that a lot of these people don't realise how bad a lot of this is. So to what extent are these elites and Starmer and the celebrity class, to what extent do you think, and I suppose you can only speculate, but to what extent are they deliberately lying to not let us realise the truth about Islamism and things like that? And to what extent are they just totally unaware they live in these little bubbles?
Well, that's a good question, because I've thought about this long and hard, because I'm trying to make sense of what's happened to the country. And I cannot work it out for the life of me. Who really is pulling the strings? What is the ultimate goal? What's the agenda here? And you'd like to give somebody the benefit of the doubt and think, you know what, you're just green. You're just clueless. You don't know. They do know. They have to know. We've got X. Every single day there's videos of gangs of foreign men chopping each other up with machetes. There's more acid attacks now than there's ever been. There's children being raped on an industrial scale. I mean, it's there for everyone to see. It's as clear as the nose on your face. So I think the BBC celebs, the woke wankers that sit there thinking they're wonderful because they're fighting for the minority just to look good at a dinner party, you're putting everybody else in grave danger and you're ignoring it because you don't care. Because it doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect them. I'm all right, Jack. We'll just pretend it's not happening when they know damn well that it is. And again, it's evil to do that. I mean, they need to go and spend a month in a tower block flat in North London or a council estate, or spend a little time in Luton or Leeds or Birmingham. Walk around some multi-storey car parks in some stairwells where you got some young person with a needle hanging out of their arm, suffering with addiction. Go into a crack house and just see what it's like for the people that have got serious problems. And for as long as working class men and women are paying their hard-earned taxes, they want to know where it's going. And when they see that £4.7 billion a year is being spent, at least 90% of that budget is being spent on housing illegal immigrants where we have no checks. We don't know who they are. And this isn't me slamming foreign people. We have got enough scumbags of our own in the UK. My father being one of them, I'm sure will come to him. We've got enough scumbags that are out wreaking havoc, hurting people for no reason, satisfying their psychotic needs, raping, grooming, targeting, plotting, scheming. Let's deal with our own scum first before we start inviting more people in that could potentially be equally as dangerous, but probably more dangerous because their level of violence out of the UK is a complete different level. Chopping somebody's head off, their arm, gouging their eyes out, it's not a problem to them. They see it day in, day out. We don't need it here. We don't want it here.
Yeah, and there's a particular reason, as you alluded to, that for you, this is an even more sensitive issue. I mean, it's a sensitive issue for everybody regarding grooming and abuse of children, those kinds of things. But tell me, who is Peter Gillet?
Peter Gillet is a bully, a narcissist, he's certainly a sociopath, probably psychopath. He's a wretched, manipulating, prolific, lying animal. And sadly, he's also my biological father.
Tell me a bit about growing up with Peter.
I didn't really grow up with Peter because from the age of 2, he was in jail for, well, it was conspiracy to rob a post office.
That's right.
Now he thinks he's a high flying gangster, when really he's a plum, he's a pleb, he's a peon, I cannot give him any credit whatsoever.
Well, that post office, what happened when he turned up?
Well, it was closed.
It's not very smart.
Well, no. So that's why. So the conviction was for conspiracy because he planned it. He had it all set up to go, and when he got there, it was closed. Too late. That was your intention. Jail for you. So growing up with Peter I got to know my father in and out of jails. And his anger was infectious. So I was very angry. I mean, it probably seems like I'm angry now because you're touching on all the trigger points. That
No, well, me angry, you should be angry.
Yeah, I am angry. I am. And for someone that's normally, I mean, you know me off camera. I'm a very happy-go-lucky, positive, upbeat person. I'll build you up the best I can. But there's just a few things going on at the moment. And I think if more people don't start tapping into anger and protest, then it's going to be twice as bad in 5 years. Heaven forbid where we're going to be in 10 years' time. So I got to know my dad in and out of jail, but the little influence he had on me was bad enough because he is a powerhouse of a person.
Before we get into this, the big details here, and they are difficult for you, I imagine, to speak about and for people to listen to, but it's important because we need to know that this goes on in the world. Give me some of the signs that things weren't quite right. There was an Arsenal game. I gather there's something happened there. What are some of those sort of things that happened?
I'm going to come back to that Arsenal game in 60 seconds. I just want to explain why I'm happy to come on a podcast. I mean, I trust you implicitly anyway, and I really respect you and what you do. So I've got no problem sharing these intimate details with you. But it's not the kind of thing you want to start doing a podcast or promoting to, I don't know, build your profile. It's harrowing, it's disturbing, it's disgusting, but I'm morally obligated, I feel, if I have an opportunity to just share my story with someone, if it gives one person a little bit of strength, if it saves one life from ending their life, that's why I'm happy to discuss this with you. So I'll go back to the Arsenal match. So what my dad would do, he would take me to the Arsenal week in, week out. This was in the 80s. And he'd also take a friend of mine. He took us together sometimes, but he also took us separately because his dad was the brother of his best friend. So he would be, my dad to my friend, I won't name him, would be Uncle Pete. So when I used to go to football with him, he'd take me into the toilet. Everything was a bit of a rush job. And so I'm very young, I'm under 10 by this stage. So I'm a big baby, really. And he'd whisk me into the toilets, and he'd come round my front, he'd stand behind me, and he'd undo my trousers or my bottoms, and he'd pull it down, and he'd hold my willy. When you're that age, it's a willy. And I'd go for a wee, and he'd shake it off, pull me back up, go and wash my hands. And it was so quick, so blasé, in plain sight. I mean, these toilets are packed full of people, and I didn't even question that it wasn't normal. It wasn't until years later, when it all came out about my dad, that he was a wrong-un, that I spoke to my friend, and he told me, I didn't preempt it, he told me, yeah, your dad used to do something a bit strange to me. We'd go to the Arsenal, and he'd take me in the toilet, and he'd pull my trousers down, and he'd take a piss like he was taking a piss himself. And I said, he'd done that to me too. And I said, that wasn't even in my statement to the police. I'd forgotten about that.
Until he said it.
Until he told me. I said, shit, he'd done that to me. I mean, that's odd and bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of little bits and pieces that's, you know, you were in bed and he was sort of touching himself, things like that.
Very, very subtle. Yeah, he'd lived in a little halfway home because he's always in and out of jail. He's done loads of big prison sentences, in and out of jail. So I'd go and visit him. When he was in a halfway house, we had to sleep in the same bed because the room wasn't big enough for 2 beds. I mean, it probably could have been, but maybe it suited him. And then one day he's sitting there touching himself and I'm in bed with him and he noticed that I felt uneasy. And that's what predators do. They don't just go full steam ahead. They analyse you. They're clever narcissists, perverted, filthy animals. When they're grooming you, they're going through a process. They're scanning you. How far can I go? Let me push that button there. Let me see if that works. Let me see if that makes him feel uneasy. And then they ramp it up. But looking to the right and seeing my old man with his cock in his hand, that made me feel uneasy. My body, I couldn't hide it. He knew that I felt uneasy, and then he's got up out of bed, gone to the toilet. As he's walking, he's got a stonking great erection, and he could tell that made me feel uneasy. And then he gave me the talk about the birds and the bees, and when men wake up in the morning, they wake up with an erection like it was okay. Made me feel very, very uneasy.
Classic grooming, isn't it?
Classic textbook grooming, yeah. But when you're being groomed, you don't know you're being groomed. Because in the next breath, he's taking you to McDonald's, buying your clothes, giving you £50 notes. So you just don't see it until it's a retrospective thing.
Tell me about Natasha.
So Natasha was my dad's girlfriend's daughter at the time. He had a very short relationship with this lady. I won't mention her name. She's an old woman now. She's probably had enough of this. But my dad's girlfriend's daughter, she was 13, I was 8. So there's, 5 years between us. And my dad's got this habit as well, or certainly did have. I mean, I've not seen him for 8 years because he's rotting in a jail in Albany on his own island with all the other sex cases. But he's got this habit of treating everyone the same. He won't filter his words if there's a child in the room. There's another strange thing you've done that's come to me that I've never mentioned before. I'll come back to it. Remind me.
Yeah.
So she was my stepsister, I was led to believe at the time, despite the fact it wasn't a particularly long period. And he was grooming and raping her for a substantial length of time. And we're not talking about a jumping out the bush with a mask kind of rape. We're talking about, let me take you somewhere nice, let me buy you this, come and watch me referee a football match, building up a rapport, little by little, then start being flirtatious, making her feel like she's special, making her feel like a grown-up. And then secretly, he's, in his mind, having sex with her, in her mind, having sex with her. What he's doing is raping her because she's a child.
And he actually did, this was full.
Oh, full blown. Yeah, he's in jail for it.
That's what he's specifically in because I guess we can get to that later down the story, can't we? How he actually got sort of caught and imprisoned and everything.
Yeah.
There was one thing you were going to say that you'd not said before that you just remembered.
Yes, I used to drive in the car with him, and he would look at young girls in school uniforms, and his exact phrase was, "She'll be a salt when she's older." She'll be a salt when she's older. For your listeners who don't know what a salt is, it's basically an attractive, sexy woman. Who, in her own right mind, looks at a child and thinks about what she's going to be like when she's older? And if you think they're going to be a salt when they're older, it's because you're attracted to her in the here and now.
Yeah, a way of sort of saying it. And another grooming sort of method, wasn't it? A way of sort of engaging you in this kind of interaction. And
desensitizing me to madness.
You sent me some photos this morning, and they are extremely intimate and what's the word? Concerning photos, which I can't even have on my phone, to be honest. I've got to delete those, you know. But what was that about? What were they?
I'm glad that you gave those pictures a description, because narcissists they recruit what you call flying monkeys, and they do the dirty work for you, and they stick up for you, and they'll call your victim a liar, and they'll back the narc. And those pictures are disturbing, disgusting. Fucking wretched man that he is. So we was on his honeymoon. It breaks my mum's heart that I was deprived of a childhood as well, because I become a man very, very quick, because he made sure of that. I didn't really do normal things that children would do. I was back and forth from jail, fighting in the waiting room area. But he took me on his honeymoon. I was his best man. I was about let's say between 8 and 10. I'm his best man at his wedding. I'm doing a speech. I'm on the dance floor, gyrating my hips. I was like a little man. Would probably look funny if you were there, but looking back, I can see how it would break my mum's heart. It's like, you're too young to be using body language like that. So I'm on his honeymoon with his second wife, and we're in the pool, and there's other people in the pool. This is why I sent you the photographs as well, because people like him will always say the accusations are lies. Always. So I like to bring receipts. I will not be called a liar by anyone. It's the one thing I don't do. I'm accountable. If I make a mistake, I put my hands up. And if I say something happened, it happened. So what he's done is, you've seen the pool. This is where the water level is. So we're both on our backs. Now, he's got his Speedos pulled down by his ankles, certainly below the knee, and so have I. And we've had to force, you try laying on your back and float in the water. You're forcing yourself up to the point where our genitals are exposed in plain sight, both of us naked, while somebody else is taking a picture. And there's several pictures, not just one. So why on earth is his wife taking a picture of me with my willy out when I'm 8, 9 or 10? And why do you think I'm doing that? Monkey see, monkey do. You know it wasn't me encouraging him to do that. No. He, as a father, as a fully grown man, is encouraging his child to expose his penis for someone to take pictures of.
Do you think the wife is thinking like, oh, it's just a bit of fun, she hasn't thought it through?
I think the wife was also groomed, and you have to be in a room with him to really understand him. He's very unique, he's very different. I've never met a human being like him, and anyone that's ever met him will concur. He's like nobody you'll ever see or meet in your life. He should be in Broadmoor. He should be sectioned. He's an utter lunatic. But I think she was either too scared, desensitised, groomed, under his hideous spell.
How far did he take things with you?
Not as far as he would like to tell people that I made out. So the 18-year sentence that he received, I think 18 months of it was for me. Child cruelty, exposing himself to me with the erection and playing with his cock in front of me. Long and short of it was
tongues kissing or something.
Well, he got not guilty for that. So sucking my tongue.
How ridiculous! All these things are proven. Oh, but not that specific thing.
And I'll tell you what he done in court. So when it comes to him and detail, when you've been attacked, when you've been a victim of narcissistic abuse, and I don't like to use the word victim, but when you've gone up against somebody who has got NPD and they machine gun you, boom, 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 and they trick you, and they use word salad and they mind fuck you and they trick you, they rewire your brain. So you can very easily get discombobulated when you're trying to return thoughts that happened all them years ago that you've suppressed and put in a little box. So child cruelty, exposing himself to me, and something else, but then the bulk of it was for the multiple rapes and the ABHs and the intimidation to the other girls. Okay. Yeah, but sucking my tongue. So he used to suck my tongue, and I said that, he would used to suck my tongue until it hurt. And that starts by him initiating a kiss, then a tongue. Then I'm a young kid. I think that's normal. I return fire. I put my tongue in his mouth. And then when I did, he sucked it to the point of extreme pain. And that was another thing, another accusation I made, which obviously did happen. And when he got, I don't know, let's just say he got 17 guilties. Don't quote me on the figures, but I'm just rounding it up or down. Can't remember. 17 guilties, 3 not guilties because they couldn't prove it beyond reasonable doubt. One of them was for sucking my tongue. He got a not guilty for that. So when he's in the dock and he's received his 18 years, and might I add, it was actually 39 years, but where you get your terms concurrent and they consolidate, the final sentence was 18 years. So he's standing in the dock. He's got 18 years. He's got unanimous guilties for multiple rapes, for child abuse, for sexual abuse against me. And where he got the not guilty for the tongue sucking, he's looked at the viewing gallery, at the jury, at the judge. He went, see, everyone's going to know he was lying now.
Oh, my God.
So in his tiny mind, and this is the whole thing of a narc. You have 1 million people disagree. One person agrees. There you go, see? Ask her, she'll tell you.
Yeah.
Mad man.
Mad. how are you? How are you, Liam?
In what sense? Today, in general, as it calls me, damage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's made me skeptical of people. I don't trust many people. I still love many, and I still give people the benefit of the doubt. It's made me stronger, believe it or not. I can talk about it quite flippantly. I do tap into anger when I talk about it.
Is that to avoid emotion?
No.
Sadness?
No. I lean into sadness.
Okay.
I've got no problem. If you was to say something that would take me somewhere that made me cry, I wouldn't try and fight it.
Okay.
No. And that is what I've had to do. I've learned over the years that you suppress any kind of emotion, it will manifest, it will grow, and then it eats you. So if I'm sad, I'll cry. If I find something funny, which is 90% of the time, I'll laugh. And if I find something infuriating and angry, there you go, it's there. So I'm okay. It's put me in a good position to help other people. Same as anybody, you have good days, bad days, but that's got nothing to do with that, I wouldn't have thought. It's the pressures of the world. But I think it's made me very, very stoic because I refuse to be beat. I refuse that animal to affect my life, my growth, my development, and be the person I can to support other people. He will not ruin my life. So I would say it's made me bigger, better, stronger. And that may sound mad to people, but it's a gift because that baton of strength, when I see someone that needs it, I pass it to them. That's for you from me. You got this.
That's beautiful, I think. And I've become friendly with you over the last few months. And my God, I see that every day, what personality you have and how strong you are and how much you do think of others. So I think that is wonderful. How do you remember the point where this sort of crossed over in your mind? I mean, you must have been relatively young, or when was this? From being, okay, he's made me feel a bit weird in bed. He's made me feel a bit weird doing this and that, to, there's something wrong with my dad.
Oh, blimey. You kind of always knew there was something wrong with him, but not in the perverse sense. He's always been very, very violent, very domineering, very controlling. He was a powerhouse of a character. I hate to give him any credit at all, but he was on one of the first reality TV programs I think the UK's ever seen. It was on TVS. It was called Survivor.
Oh, yeah.
Annabelle Croft was on there. Put in Google, he was accused of molesting her too. Guess what? Another liar. She lied. Somebody from Brookside was on there. So I always knew he was different.
Annabelle, she lied about him molesting her.
She didn't lie, sorry. He accused her of lying.
Oh, she lied. Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
So another accusation towards my biological father, the sperm donor, and they're a liar. Everyone, my dad's never wrong, but any narcissist, there'll be the hero, there'll be the victim, but they'll never ever admit to being the villain.
Absolutely. So you always knew something was a bit wrong, and then I guess it's that coming to terms with I've been abused by my dad. Was that a gradual thing? That it wasn't such a moment.
No, there was a pivotal moment where the photographs I sent you.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad would always attack me. I would always be under some kind of barrage of abuse, belittling, even into my adult years. I mean, got to a stage where I would tell him, you're not talking to a child no more. I'll put you in the ground. And I would talk to him like that. It's like, you carry on the way you're going, the way you've always been, I'm going to hurt you. Like, you can't bully me anymore. You can't manipulate me anymore. You can't mind fuck me. I've learned, I've progressed in my mind. I know all the signs. Plus, he's achieved absolutely zero in his whole life. So I didn't have a great deal of respect for him as I got older. But those pictures I brought down from the loft, and my current girlfriend at the time, I'm bringing out these pictures, and I've looked at these pictures of me naked with my dad exposing myself, and you see there's other ones we're pulling our pants down from behind, and I'm looking at them, and my girlfriend at the time, she said, you do know that's abuse. You do know that's wrong. And I said, I've never really thought about it, because it's always been, it's a laugh and a joke, there's nothing to it, and I didn't know any different. And she said, yeah, that's abuse. So that was kind of the first eureka moment with the sexual abuse. But the worst for me was the abuse years before that, because that was when I was well into my 30s maybe, when I got them pictures out, and he'd already done a number of, a catalogue of despicable things to my son's 18. I mean, I don't even like swearing around him. I was either 14 or 15, and this is one of his little get out of jail clauses. And if I get a month wrong, you're lying. So let's just say I was 15. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm 15 years of age and I'm going around his house because he's back out of prison. It was very novel, and I'm taking my friends around there because he treated us all like adults. I mean, trying to get out of this one was very difficult because there was about 12 witnesses. I used to take all my friends round his house, children, 15 years of age, smoking dope with him, taking E's, DF118s, Temazepam, prescription drugs that maybe your audience would never even heard of because some of them are heroin substitutes. There you go, there's a smack substitute, you're 15 years of age. But he got me on acid. So he introduced me to all of these drugs and he done them with me. And acid is, I mean, anyone watching this that's considering dabbling with acid, because I know psychedelics are coming back, please don't do that. Because if you have one bad turn on there, you're never coming back. It will completely wreck your central nervous system, and you could spend the rest of your life walking around, quite literally, a nervous wreck, or in a psychiatric ward with psychosis.
That Pink Floyd fella, one of the Pink Floyd guys had that. He sort of never came back from it.
Which one was that?
He was right at the beginning. It was like the first album. I can't remember his name. Someone will put it in the comments.
Yeah, and that comes as no surprise. I mean, I know how deadly LSD acid is. So he would ply me with acid. We'd have these outrageous acid parties. You get to a stage when it starts going south and things become a bit dark and you're losing control of your complete mind. I mean, you lose the grip of your mind. It's very, very frightening. It's terrifying. It's the most horrendous ordeal I've ever gone through in my life. I mean, petrified. You think of how... There must be one time in your life that you can remember that you were so scared you couldn't even move, think or breathe.
Well, yeah, I did acid and that's what happened.
So you've done acid?
Yeah, on an island somewhere. I was at night on my own. Don't know what I was thinking. Stupidest thing I've ever done.
I wish I asked you about that when you was on mine. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is, again, I'm so glad that you understand the magnitude of when a trip goes wrong, you are paralysed with fear, and when he saw me scared, with my friends in the room, he'd then switch on me. What did you say? What did you fucking say? You said something. What did you fucking say? And he'd come in my face and he'd shout louder and louder and get closer and closer until... I can't move. I'm stiff with fear. I just want to die. I want the world to swallow me up and this has to end. And then when he got me to breaking point, he'd say, do that. You mug. Got you, didn't I? And then he'd look at my mates and go, did you see him fucking shit himself? It's like, you evil maniac. Evil maniac.
It's part of you still love him.
Yes, sadly.
How do you deal with that?
I just do. I just accept it. I just accept the fact that it's very difficult to fall out of love with somebody. Love is such a powerful emotion, and where he was such a powerful character, and I loved him, and he was my hero, and I idolised him. You'll always have a little bit of that in you. But it was when I was being cross-examined in the court, and for some strange reason, I think, my dad was directing his brief because in the end he sacked him, and the only other person that's been sacked during a serious trial and then represented themselves was Ted Bundy.
Oh, right.
That's the kind of person my old man is. But when they cross-examined me, they tried to insinuate that I didn't love my dad, I hated him, and this was a hate campaign. And I said, you've got that all wrong. And my dad's there. I'm here in the dock. They wanted to put a witness screen. I said, no, I have to look him in the eye. Have to look him in the eye. And I looked at him, and then I looked at his brief, and I said, I still love him. I cannot help but love him. I used to get butterflies when I'd hear his voice on the answer machine, on the phone. There's something about him ingrained in me. If I love someone, I have a tendency to love them forever. I said, but what he's done is despicable and I cannot let that go. And he has to go to jail. If it was just me he'd done things to, if it was just me that he'd done insidious things to, then maybe I could have wiped my mouth and put it behind me and pretend it never happened and try and make sense of it. But as soon as I found out that he'd done the unthinkable to other people, children, innocent girls that had a toughen up upbringing as it is, because there was a third person that I've never met and I can't remember her name. And that suits me. The less I know, the better, really. Sort of, I've got enough on my shoulder to deal with that whole thing, because he's due out in a year and a half, maybe less than that. He'll be out soon.
Shit.
But yeah, I said I love him, but he's got to go to jail, and it's as simple as that, because he's also destroyed. Because when I went down a rabbit hole, I found out who my dad was when this all come to fruition. I didn't really know him. He's an actor. It's a facade. He's a narc. Mask on, mask off. I saw the version he wanted me to see until other people started telling me things about him, what he'd done. And then I was like a detective. It's okay. And I don't believe everything someone tells me the first time. Like, I need to know. If I'm going to take my dad to court and testify against my own father, I need to know. And I know. He raped a young girl, and for that, I took it all the way. And as much as I love him, I hate him with equal measures, but he had to go to jail, and I had to play my part. And you know what? I've done a lot of good stuff in my life. It's not been easy, and I've achieved some good things, considering the odds were stacked against me. That is, to date, my biggest achievement, because he's destroyed so many lives, and I put an end to that, at least for 9 years, because he'll only serve 9 out of the 18. So for me, I like building people up. I like helping people. I feel morally obligated to do that. And by knowing that I've put that animal in a cage for such a long time, and it gives people some breathing space to be free from what he's capable of doing. I mean, I could tell you a list of things he's done that will blow your mind. The most outrageous things. Lies. He self-projects. He accuses people of what he's guilty of. I'll give you one example, because I know we like to move these along. Yeah. But he wasn't invited to his friend's wedding. Rightly so, because he would think it was his wedding.
Yeah.
He didn't get the invite. Once he found out he didn't get the invite, he started telling everybody that he was a rapist, that he was a nonce. This is a straight-laced guy with a normal job that's never done anything wrong in his life. I know exactly who he is. I speak to him now. It's like, what are you doing? I can see what you're doing. You're bitter and twisted that you got rejected. That's the narcissistic scar. Yeah. He didn't get his supply for once off this person. It's like, shit, he's wounded. So he then makes up lies, and he slanders, and he targets, and he tells the world. And he goes around telling individual people lies about people. He's done it to so many people, but they're things that he's guilty of himself. Narcissists self-project also.
When you were looking at him, and you made sure to look at him in court, and you said you love him, was he looking back at you? Was he looking at you in the eyes?
Yes. Yeah.
What do you think he's thinking or feeling?
Well, he's such a mentalist. I wouldn't be surprised if part of him was thinking, that's my boy. And the other half of me, or the other half of him, will be thinking, I'm going to kill him when I get out. In court, he told me he was going to slit my throat. I got asked to leave temporarily because I reacted to him. He's in the dock, a viewing gallery full of people, all there to see, telling me he's going to slit my throat. So I reacted to that. They asked me to leave. They knew that, my emotions were running high, as they would be. Then I was allowed back in. And, because he's protested his innocence like he's always done. It's not the first time he's protested his innocence either. When he's got a stint, he got 8 years on another opiate deal with Joey Pole Jr., another big face in the underworld. They're very different people. Joey Pole's a very respected individual. My old man is shit on everyone's shoe. But when my old man was on remand for, I think it was £1 million worth of opium, it wasn't even conspiracy. It was intent to supply. He swore blind. It's a fit up. I didn't do it. I'm innocent. He said to me in a prison visiting room, I swear on your life, may you drop down dead with cancer. I didn't do it. I'm innocent. They've set me up. He got found guilty. The first jury were nobbled. Retrial. He got found unanimously guilty because there was undercover surveillance. It was all on camera. And then a few months later, he appeared on the TV. There he is with 2 bin liners of opium from one boot into another boot. You wish me dead of cancer if you hadn't have done that. And you did do it. So he's got no limits. He's got no morals to him either.
Jesus.
Animal. Imagine wishing cancer on your son.
I don't know. I just, yeah, it's just bonkers, unimaginable. I'm trying to sort of in my head understand how you came to be how you are, and having come from him. Are there moments, and we all have those moments a little bit, you catch yourself in the mirror and you see a bit of, oh, that's the face my dad makes or my brother makes or something. Do you see any of him deep down inside you? Of not the, those horrible stuff.
I know exactly what you mean. And the answer to that is yes. Now, when I put on weight, I look in the mirror, I think, you actually look like your old man. And you cannot be fat and bald. You look like a stereotypical PDF file. So when I see myself gain a bit of weight with no hair, I think that's got to go. Keto. But a more serious answer to your question is, yes, I have a lot of traits my dad has. We have both got the power of persuasion. He uses his power of persuasion very differently to me. He uses his power of persuasion to break people. Because he gets his strength from your weakness. He grows from your demise. If you're sad, if you're sitting in misery and he's made sure you're there, he grows. It's a fucking animal. Me, I use my power of persuasion to build people up because I don't like to see people sad. I can see sadness in somebody's eye in a cafe and I can feel their sadness. So we use exactly the same technique, but he chooses to crush people and I choose to build people up. Makes him a scumbag. He's got the ability to really make a difference in the world. He has, for the worse, but what a shit set of skills to be blessed with, only to use them to wreck people's lives.
Do you think he's a psychopath?
Yes.
So feels no empathy for people?
Oh, he's void of any kind of remorse, empathy. The more pain he sees in your eyes, the more his glow. He's horrible.
So I wonder if you inherited your empathy from your mum.
Now, my mum and my nan desert, because people might be thinking, well, where the hell was his mum and his nan? My dad done the damage from the little time that I spent with him. And this is why I'm hell-bent on pointing out injustice and supporting people and bolstering them when they need it. Because my nan was very much a nurturer. And my mum is a beautiful human being. I mean, I love her more than my mind can comprehend. My mum and my nan are my heroes, which is why I don't like all these crimes. I don't like the possibility that women could be in danger because I know the strength of a woman. They made me. I wasn't raised by a man. I become a man through being raised by women. And it's because of them. It's the kindness that I saw in them that obviously my dad infected me. They passed their graciousness and their love onto me. And luckily, and I think at the moment in the world, there's a balance of good versus evil and good wins. Good won. It did with me.
Who are most people know, but who are the Krays for some who don't know?
Blimey, the Krays. So Reg and Ron Kray, they were twin brothers who used to run the underworld of the East End of London back in the 60s. They consequently went on to murder. Reg murdered Jack the Hat McVitie and Ron murdered George Cornell. Reg murdered Jack the Hat in a basement, stabbed him multiple times in the eye, ended his life, and Ron went into a pub and shot Cornell dead in the head. If you've not seen the film The Krays, I would say with the Kemp brothers, that's probably the best film to watch to get an idea of the Krays if you don't know who they are.
See, I watched it in preparation of talking to you just because I wanted to, not that it was going to be a big subject, but I wanted to have a look and all that. And you know what? It got such good reviews, but I feel like it's a bit dated now, because I told you there's all these bits where they talk because they're twins. They talk at the same time. And I thought, come on, that wasn't happening,
I mean, I was too young to know them. I was born 1980. So the only time I've ever met Reg is when I was a kid and my dad would take me to visit him in Parkhurst and I'd smuggle him in a bottle of brandy or a bottle of whiskey because you didn't get searched back then. You could get away with a lot more in jails than you can now. So I can't really comment on that, but I do know that they did have, I've heard audio tapes of Reg talking for hours and hours and hours about Frances, his wife, who ended up killing herself. She was on all sorts of downers and Reg was an overbearing man, as you could imagine. But they definitely did have a weird relationship. It's said that Ron was in love with Reg. He was very jealous of Frances, as far as I know. But I don't want to talk like I'm a walking authority on the Krays because, I've heard these... I did hear these stories from Reg's mouth on an audio tape and I've heard my dad's version from Reg. But then again, my dad's a pathological liar. So I kind of question everything. But I think there's enough information out there on the Krays for people to make their own mind up. Some people think they're heroes, national treasures. Some people think they're paedophilic, psychotic animals that got all they deserved, and they spent all of their life in jail. They never got released. They died there.
Was your dad involved with them?
Very much so. Not in their heyday when they run the clubs and had the protection racket. It was when my dad went to jail for the first time. He bunked up with Reg Kray and they become inseparable, very close, openly said they loved each other. The Sun reported that they were gay lovers. They managed to sue the Sun for that. They managed to sue the Sun for that because there was no evidence to say that they were gay. And the next question will probably be, do you think that they were gay? I don't know. I'd love to say they were because it would just get my dad's goat. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is, I'll never know. But I do think Reg Kray was in love with my dad. He was this young, pretty blue eyes, yeah, blonde hair, singing. He was a showman, my man, as well. You know, he could have gone on to act, sing, dance, you name it. He could do it all. But his narcissistic tendencies got the better of him. Reg would introduce him to people like Roger Daltrey, Jules Holland, UB40. And my dad thought he was bigger than them all. He told Roger Daltrey to have some respect. Yeah. The Who presents. Yeah. See the film that you watched?
Yeah.
I think it was Polygram that done it in the end. Could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. We're talking a long time ago. But what I do know is, because I met Roger Daltrey and all of them people that I said that my dad burnt his bridges with, the Who presents were going to do the Krays film. It was because of my dad's influence, they pulled the plug and said, fucking can't work with this maniac. He told Roger Daltrey on the phone, have some respect. Who do you think you're talking to? The lead singer of the Who, some Mickey Mouse arm robber, telling Roger Daltrey to have some respect. Perspective, Pete.
They used to chuck like TVs out of windows, didn't they?
Keith Moon was legendary for that.
Yeah.
I think he drove a Rolls Royce into a pool, didn't he? Or was it Ozzy Osbourne? I don't know.
It's all of them, wasn't it?
They're pretty wild.
All of them. They're all biting chicken heads off, aren't they?
Yeah, good old days. Oh, yeah. Bat.
Yeah, a bat.
Ozzy he bit a bat's head off.
Imagine doing that.
Only in China.
Yeah. What would you say to young Liam now if you could talk to him?
If I could speak to me, well, maybe if my son's watching, I'll say this to him, what I'd say to me. Keep going. Nothing lasts forever. If you're in a bad spot, it will pass. Rainy days pass. The sun soon shines through the clouds. Be a good son. Be a good dad. Be a good friend. Be a loyal friend. Be a man. Be accountable. Don't shy away from stuff. Look after people that need looking after. Make sure you don't let anyone get bullied in your company. And be honest.
And then you're a man, my son. You say he's out in a year. Are you worried about that? Is he going to try and get back in your life?
He won't try and get back in my life. He'll try and sabotage my life because he's a creature of habit and that's what he's done his whole life. Anything I've achieved, he's tried to, to piss on. He's tried to ruin it and destroy it. He's a very jealous, bitter, envious man as well. Again, me and him are very, very different in that respect. If I look at someone that's doing tremendously well, I want them to keep doing well. I want them to keep doing better. I don't, like a lot of people, they're happy you're doing well just as long as you're behind them.
Yeah.
For me, when I get my friends tell me I've just done this deal or I've just got this promotion or I'm building this business and they zoom past me, I'm like, keep going. Keep going. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
My dad doesn't like anybody doing well. So he'll try and sabotage whatever I'm doing. I mean, the little bit of credibility he did have before he went in jail is completely gone. So he's going to struggle. There's a chance he's going to come out and kill me. I believe he's capable of that. And I think it would be his ultimate, I told you I was set up and I'm so angry about it, I killed my own son. I wouldn't put that past him. But I'm not scared. I'm not worried. If it's my time, it's my time. And this isn't like podcast bravado. I say it to my girlfriend quite often, I'm ready. And it's not because I'm an unhappy person. I've had the best life I could possibly imagine. I couldn't have asked for a better life.
But you'd be leaving your son behind.
That's true.
And your missus.
I wouldn't want to leave anybody behind.
Yeah.
But I'm ready. I mean, I put my head above the parapet on a lot of things. I do say and do things that could potentially put me in great danger. And if it's part of my tapestry and it happens, I've done a great deed by putting him away. And that is not some heroic ending to this interview either. I just mean it. If he comes for me, he better do a thorough job because this time I won't be so kind.
I've got one more question for you, but where can people find your work?
My actual work, I suppose, is my YouTube channel, The Dozen with Lee and Tuffs. I interview interesting people like Andrew, and it's a lovely time for me to get out of my head and learn from other people. And we get some very controversial guests on there. I mean, I'm on all the other ones, X, Instagram, Facebook. Really, if you want to see my work, what I'm doing, my passion project where I give back, I consider my channel as me giving back. This is for you, is YouTube at Liam Tuffs.
It's such a good channel, The Dozen. It's so good. And I don't often say that, but it's really good. Many similar guests, a lot of the same guests we've had. So people who like this channel will definitely like yours. And it's just some fascinating interviews. There's that Imam you interviewed the other day. What a brilliant conversation. And the fact that you don't just always say the things people expect you to say, you're very thoughtful. So I hope people will go and check that out. We'll have a link down below. Who's a heretic you admire?
It's got to be Tommy. It's got to be Tommy because he's relentless in his pursuit, and he's relentless in his pursuit to fight for the forgotten people, irrespective of the persecution that he comes under. He's prepared to sacrifice his liberty. I know him personally, so I know the lies and the slander and the nonsense that's reported about him. I know that he's a selfless human being, and he loses sleep when he sees others suffer. Because I know that firsthand, because he's current, because he's in the here and now, he is my favourite heretic, and the country needs him.
I forgot to ask, because you were just out for lunch with him and got kicked out of a restaurant, and that became huge national news. What went on?
It was sad, disappointing, and that was my takeaway from that. So Tommy's come out of court. He didn't have security that day. I don't think he considered the fact that there would be an army of press there, just mauling him. So I slipped into security mode, shouldered him. Once the press finished interviewing him, or once he finished interviewing the press, should I say, we made our way to a cab. There was 5 of us in there. We tried to go to a pub, first of all, which is near Westminster. That was closed. Back in the cab. Where we're going to eat? Steak. Okay, Hawksmoor's up here on the right. I'd never been there. We've gone in there. Nice, polite, great service. You know, we're not knuckle-dragging football hooligan menaces to society. We're just nice people with children that want to make a bit of a change and protect ours and other people's children. And I'm putting that in there because eventually we was asked to leave, and I can only assume it's because of Tommy's activism, journalism, political stance. But they took us upstairs. For people that know Hawksmoor, we walked through right to the back. It was before midday, so not many people will have steak for late breakfast. So we've gone back, we've sat down, we had 2 waiters serving us. They were great, they were friendly, we had a laugh, we had a joke, they took pictures, they wanted pictures, they had a chat. We had a round of drinks, soft drinks, we then had our starters, and I was absolutely ravenous. I couldn't wait to have the steak. I think we was all on the same page. We had a big adrenaline dump from fighting through the crowds, looking forward to the steak. And we're mild-mannered, we're quiet. We had a laptop open. We was doing work while we were in there. And I think people think that if you're on YouTube, you don't do a great deal other than sit here chatting. It's like, cool, if only you knew. Yeah. It's a 24/7 job. So we're in there. We're sort of in work mode, discussing, where do you go from here, Tom? You've still got the establishment gunning for you. I mean, these trumped-up charges are absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, the manager has come over and he said, I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. His words were to the tune of, you're making a member of our staff or our staff feel uncomfortable. Now, immediately, I'm always thinking of my surroundings. I'm like, there's 5 blokes here. It doesn't require 5 spokespeople. So obviously, we can sense it's obviously Tommy's presence that he's concerned with. But we're curious as to know, well, who's made the complaint? Because everyone that we've seen and spoke to thoroughly enjoyed our company. I mean, we're nice people. We was having a laugh, so was they. So Tommy's asked him a few questions. Why? Okay, but can you explain how we're making them feel uncomfortable? What about our comfort? What about if us feeling someone in the kitchen uncomfortable makes all 5 of us uncomfortable, does that mean that we stay and they go? Like, how does this work?
Yeah.
This is discrimination. So we all got up very peacefully, quietly, walked out. Again, there's 5 of us. As we're walking out, you've got people eating their dinner, giving us a wink, giving us a nod. They recognised. And let me tell you, out of those 5 people that were there, one of them you'll never see because he's behind the scenes filming, as is the other one. So the 3 people that are in the public eye, one of them's a regular paedophile hunter. I've put my own dad in jail for paedophilia, and Tommy's exposed thousands. So to me, I think we've done God's work, and this is how we get treated in the capital of our own country. So I've stood back, and I made a mental note. I thought, I'm going to come back by myself or with my partner. So I come in peace. Now that I do this sort of thing, I kind of got a bit of a journalistic mind. I want to know the whys.
Yeah.
I don't want to come back to support your business. I think what you've done is foul. But I respect the fact, your house, your rules, which is why I'm leaving. But I don't agree with it. I don't condone it. I think you're ludicrous in what you're doing. But Tommy's had a little chat and it's been recorded, and I didn't know what was said until yesterday, so you can watch that on Tommy's YouTube channel. They had a chat, and I thought the manager that was speaking to Tommy was very smug, and he seemed like he quite enjoyed declining our custom. So we left with no issues, and that was that. And then Tommy posted it, and our friend Groming posted it. It's had about 12 million views. There's going to be a boycott Hawksmoor campaign that Tommy's putting together. All he wants is the CEO, because it turns out the CEO's mother is a Daily Mail reporter.
Huh.
And it's the Daily Mail that are taking Tommy to court. So it could be coincidence. I mean, it's kind of a battle now that I'm not involved in. But if you're Tommy and you keep getting situations where you're being asked to leave places for no reason, you're going to be sick of it. And I think we're all sick of it. We're sick of cancel culture. We're sick of DEI, woke establishments. We're sick of the snobbery, the culture. Yeah. The snobbery within our society and political snobbery. We could go down another route there, but we won't. But that's that story in a nutshell. And I just want to end this. Thank you for having me on. I'm a big fan of yours and your work and your show. I love it equally as you do mine. And I'm sorry you didn't get a more chirpy side of me, but...
Well, it's not chirpy topics, is it?
It's not a chirpy topic, and I knew where it was going to go, and I'm more than happy to do it. Like I say, if I can save a life or save someone's mental health from spiralling.
I hope it's resonated with people.
Me too.
That lunch thing, I think it's mad, because you're right, a private establishment can do what they want. But I tell you what, if I owned a cafe, bar, whatever, Owen Jones or Keir Starmer or any of these people who I disagree fundamentally with, or some imam who's preaching, I don't care. If you're coming in quietly and having some lunch or dinner, hey, Mr. Starmer, what would you like to eat? That's it. And that's what humankind should be. That's what I think.
Well, I agree. And we're now sick of it.
We're sick of it. People, if you're sick of it, go and follow Keir Starmer.
Don't follow him, whatever you do.
Oh, my God. Go. You're not the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
That would be a good turn. People go and follow Liam Tuffs, The Dozen. He's got all sorts of social media accounts. We'll put links down below. Go and follow him. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. He's given so much of himself. And, go write some comments. Say you found his channel from me. Hit that like button. Keep watching this channel.